Guys, good Wednesday afternoon. My name is Jerry Miller. Welcome to the I Love CVille show. We are live in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth, the country, in the world, on the I Love CVille network from the historic Macklin building on Market Street. So much to get to on today's program. We try to make news approachable and positive for you on this network. We put it on something we're all addicted to, and that's our phone. Instead of putting the news on a box in front of a couch or on a device in a car we no longer use. Give the show a like and a share on any of the Facebook pages you're watching this program upon. There's so much information to get to today. Every day I wake up, I've mentioned on this show many times, I subscribe to 12 or 13 different media outlets. Every day I wake up, I read these 12 or 13 media outlets, whether it's finance, whether it's Barron's, Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Washington Post, the Daily Progress, the Roanoke Times, whatever it may be. I constantly look and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's more and more and more and more information to get to. It's getting to the point where I'm now having to curate or vet the information we're relaying to you because it's so much. This show easily could be 2 to 3 hours. I remember when I was doing the Jerry Miller show on 12 ESPN affiliates, Monday through Friday across 3 states. We filled 3 hours every day on the radio waves. That was, 8-9 years ago on ESPN. And I don't know, thinking about expanding the show, I'm hearing from a lot of you guys that you would like more local content. So we may consider going from a 12:30 to 1:30 or from a 12:30 to a 2 o'clock here on the I Love CVille network. Dede Smith is going to join us in about 18 minutes. She's awesome. I love Dede Smith. Dede Smith calls it how she sees it, and she's committed to making this community better. We're going to talk education, a passion of Dede's. She's on the board at the Barrett's Early Learning Center, formerly the vice mayor here in Charlottesville City. She knows the ins and outs of schools certainly better than I do. She's going to join us soon on the show. Christopher Eagle, a realtor for Real Estate 3, is going to join us. We'll catch up with perhaps the most excitable, passionate, and energized real estate agent in Charlottesville, Central Virginia. Maybe I'll get him to do his trademark woo on the program. I'm looking forward to welcoming Christopher Eagle, and I've enjoyed watching him grow his brand since he got in the mix on Jeff Gaffney's team over there on Real Estate 3. I encourage you guys to give the show a like and a share anywhere you're watching. This week, we're going to introduce a new element to the show. It's going to be called I Love CVille Trivia. Each show, I'll ask a local trivia question. You're going to put your answers in the comment sections of any of the Facebook pages. We'll give away some of our merchandise that sells like hotcakes, our I Love CVille t-shirts, our CVille Bars t-shirts, our CVille Shamrock t-shirts to the people that give the right answers. So be on the lookout for I Love CVille Trivia on the I Love CVille show, maybe starting tomorrow. Judah Wickhauer is our fabulous director. He's my right hand. We've been working together 8 years. Love-hate relationship, regardless, brothers, I would call him. Spend more time with him than I do my family. Get ready. This show is hot. It's hot. We're gonna hold Mayor Nakia Walker extremely accountable, because everywhere I look and everywhere I read and everyone I speak to, they mention her inability to get along with constituents and with citizens and with colleagues in this fine community. When she's verbally berating Bellamy Brown, who ran for Charlottesville City Council, and calling him toxic, and this is her language, this is not my language. You know what, I'm not even going to use the word. I'm going to be better than what she did. She called him toxic, S-H-I-T. Mayor Walker did, of a veteran, a military veteran, of someone that's trying to run for council. Now she can't get along with the Police Civilian Review Board to the point where they have to hire independent counsel. She's literally fighting in Zoom meetings with Lloyd Snook last night. It was embarrassing. I'm watching this and I'm humiliated to watch what I'm watching because of this verbal berating she's doing to Lloyd Snook. We'll talk about that on the show. BreadWorks is closing. CVille Settlement Company hires a virtual teacher. The Boys and Girls Club has formed a partnership with the Fry Spring Beach Club. The City Market is going to a parking lot at Charlottesville High School. Yes, an asphalt parking lot. We have new housing coming to Market Street. We have a new proposal for the NCAA tournament led by Mike Krzyzewski at Duke and Durham. De Blasio and Como in New York are the Grim Reapers, perhaps, of restaurants in the Big Apple. And ESPN has pink-slipped Hank Williams from Monday Night Football. A couple of other items. Virginia Tech asking 70 students to move out of dorms now so they can use their dorm rooms for quarantine beds. They are offering a 20% deduction in housing costs because they're putting these students in a bind. And guys, the I Love CVille Daily Digest today at 5 o'clock. If you love this content, the only thing I ask of you, the only thing we ask of you on this show is to like it. Hit the like button right now. Please hit the like button and share it to your friends. That would be even better. Judah Wickow, are you ready to rock and roll? All right, J-Dubs, my boy. Let's go with the first headline. This one, a bummer. Do you have the photo from BreadWorks, J-Dubs? Yeah. Let's get the photo on screen. Judah and I were both bummed about this. Let me know when that's up there. Look at the screen. Look at the screen. Look at your phone. Look at your computer, your laptop, your iPad. Look now. BreadWorks is closing on Preston Avenue. BreadWorks has provided workforce training and jobs to people with disabilities since 1967. BreadWorks straight up said this was due to COVID-19. This is tremendously concerning, not only because the food is fantastic, because this was one of the few places in our community where individuals with special needs could be employed, could get jobs and workforce training. So certainly something that stings my soul as someone who loves this community dearly and has been emotionally and physically and financially invested in this community since I arrived as a mischievous and precocious and hungry and looking to create a life as a first year in 2000. Here at the University of Virginia, I fell in love with the community right away. I knew it was going to be my home. And when I see brands like BreadWorks and businesses that offer the community a valuable outlet and resource, and certainly workforce training for folks that have special needs is paramount and critically important. This unfortunate. I would encourage anyone that's watching the program that is looking for any kind of team members or folks of new team members on their team. Consider the folks that now are unemployed and have lost their jobs at BreadWorks. They're going to do their best to try to place the team members at BreadWorks that are losing their job with other companies. Not all of them will be placed. So please consider that. I'm going to emphasize this again to both the Albemarle County Board of Supervisors, and frankly, we know you watch the show. We hear from your colleagues at Albemarle that you watch the show. And we hear from your colleagues that you don't often like what I say. That also goes for Charlottesville City Council. We know you counselors watch the show. And we know you don't like what I say all the time. And frankly speaking, I don't care. I don't care. Okay? And I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to say it again till I'm blue in the face. It's time we elect officials in this beloved community that are business-minded, entrepreneurial, and innovative, as opposed to folks that are strictly focused on activism or folks that are strictly focused on building a wall around Albemarle County and not allowing people in to the county. You guys know who I mean. More on that later. BreadWorks, we're going to miss you. A few more weeks left at that fantastic business on Preston Avenue. Some positive news. Charlottesville Settlement Company, Judah Wickow, if we can get that on screen, my friend. Charlottesville Settlement Company is hiring essentially a teaching assistant to help its employees manage COVID-19. Its employees in the same plight or conundrum or crossroads we all are. How do we be mom and dad? And how do we maintain a paycheck in the workforce world when our kids are learning from home? Well, Charlottesville Settlement Company is stepping up, and they are hiring a virtual teaching assistant. So now parents can go to work, they can count on their kids learning and having some supervision. Kudos, props. This is going to be a conversation we have with Dede Smith. We're going to reference a Washington Post article that was quite impactful. I'm going to sit back and learn from Dede, who I think is absolutely amazing. And we're going to discuss the future of what a lot of folks are saying is where education is going to go. And it's away from hallways and classrooms and antiquated buildings with poor ventilation that are not cleaned all the time, that cost the municipality a tremendous amount of money to upkeep. And it's going to go away from what is essentially the Tyrannosaurus Rex or the dinosaur of education. And much like COVID-19, with what it's done to retail and with what it's done with making streaming paramount, it's going to do that to education, where folks are going to be learning in pods, home, work, whatever it may be. I live in Glenmore, in Keswick, in Albemarle County. There's a pod literally in the front of the club. It's a tent like you would see at a wedding. There's 10 to 12 kids learning under there. A teacher was hired, first through fourth grade, I believe. It's expensive. It's $350 a week. I mean, that's what? Quick math, $1,400 a month. That's more than most private schools, okay? But this pod scenario is the future. We'll talk about that with Dede. Kudos to Charlottesville Settlement Company for pivoting. Isn't that the word of 2020? For adapting and pivoting. The next headline, another pivot, another adapt. I mean, someone just should write a shirt, create a shirt, Pivot 2020, or hashtag Pivot 2020. That shirt would sell all day and twice on Sundays. Fry Springs Beach Club, J-Dubs, get that on screen. Fry Springs Beach Club has partnered, thank you, my friend, has partnered with the Boys and Girls Club of Central Virginia. This partnership, a 9-week partnership, so it's kind of a test, a beta. The Jack Jewett Boys and Girls Club has found a new home at Fry Springs Beach Club. I love this. Fry Springs Beach Club will be home to 35 members and 8 staff of the Jack Jewett Boys and Girls Club for at least a few months. I used to live in Redfields on the south side of Charlottesville. Fry Springs Beach Club is awesome. It's an asset to JPA, South Side, and the Fry Springs neighborhood. I would love the Fry Springs Beach Club to have a makeover and to get a little TLC so it gets into the year 2020 and not the year 1970, which is in right now from a look or an aesthetic standpoint. But regardless, you have a sweet pool, you have a lot of land, you have a big parking lot, you have a ton of space inside. It's just set up for a learning environment in this 2020 scenario we are in. Again, we will reference this with Dede Smith today on the I Love CVille show. So props to both the Boys and Girls Club, CEO James Pierce. Props to Fry Springs Beach Club Executive Director Robin Wrightson for a joint venture, a JV, that I think is tremendously positive for our community. The next headline, J-Dubs, an abbreviation for Judah Wickower, comes from the City Market, Jay. Get that on screen, my friend. The Charlottesville City Market is moving to a paved parking lot at Charlottesville High School. Look, the City Market is virtual, so the fact that it's on a paved parking lot, not the end of the world. Like a paved parking lot would be if it was 100 degrees in the summer and we were off Water Street with 1,000 people crammed next to you. Okay, when it gets to be the dog days of summer and that City Market's on Market Street and we're standing on asphalt, there's 1,000 people there, it's 100 degrees, it's 100% humidity, it gets pretty brutal. Okay, now it's a mobile city market. As you can imagine, the numbers or the engagement in a mobile city market are down. I mean, the whole concept of a city market is to walk around from booth to booth and socialize and grab a cup of Shenandoah Joe's and some tacos from those taco folks, or a crab cake from the crab cake people, or Mama Bird. Mama Bird's got a fantastic little Bitme. What's that thing called, Judah? The Bitmoji? It's not Bitmoji. The food, Bibimbap. It's a Bibimbap for Mama Bird. I mean, the concept of a city market is socialize and fraternize and patronize and localize and personalize and humanize. Got away with words, Jerry Miller. Now you get in a car and you're doing a drive-by city market. It's at Charlottesville High School because Darden Tau is opening up its athletic fields for sports again. So that's a positive. It's a positive that the city market is surviving. The city market, guys, I'm going to cut to the chase, should be in one of two places. And I think if the city of Charlottesville could see the forest through the trees, and frankly, they struggle to do that often. If the city of Charlottesville could see the forest through the trees, they would do a joint venture with Alan Kajin and Ludwig Kutner at Ix Art Park. They are doing a phenomenal job now, Ludwig Kutner and Ix Art Park, with a Saturday market of their own. I would love to see the two competing models, the market at Ix and the city-run market, just take your ego and pride out of it, Charlottesville City Hall, and do a partnership with Ludwig and Allen and move it to the grass and move it to that fabulous space he's got. They got parking, they got grass, they got shade, and they got a lot of businesses that would welcome them with open arms. That's the move. If you're looking for a backup plan, maybe consider the derelict and forgotten Kim's Market property on Cherry Avenue. Kim's Market is an eyesore, and it's a critically important piece of property down the Cherry Avenue corridor right now that is hopeless. And that hopelessness that you see with that property radiates throughout the corridor. Okay, so you have two opportunities there in Kim's Market and or what Ludwig is doing at Ix that are much better positions and plays than what you're doing right now. It just requires creativity and innovation and an entrepreneurial mindset. And this is the type of stuff that motivates me to get civically involved. Businesses are doing well, my family's doing well, my wife's doing well, my kids doing well. As we go deeper down this road of being active and engaged in this community, it motivates me, and it's the same thing as an 18-year-old when I came to Charlottesville, okay? I know one speed, and that is 1,000 miles an hour straight ahead, okay? Some folks call it tenacious, some folks call it aggressive. I call it getting stuff done. I call it being successful, okay? And it's worked for us. That's why I want to be civically engaged in this community, and that's why you'll likely see me on a ballot in the future. The next headline, Judah Wickower, comes from Charlottesville School Systems. On Monday, the University of Virginia on Labor Day reported a massive outage with its students that impacted schools. Now, on Tuesday, J-Dubs, if you can get that on screen, Charlottesville City Schools, and it's on screen now, experienced an internet outage for about an hour. Now, we know stuff was going to happen. I mentioned on yesterday's show, we do the best we can with what we got. You know what a CEO or a number one at a company, what he needs to do or what she needs to do each day when she walks into his or her business or he walks into his or her business? They need to rally the troops and explain to everyone, we're going to work as a team to a common goal, and today we're going to do the best we can with what we got. We knew that there were going to be technical difficulties as we virtually learn. So I'm going to take the glasses half full approach and remind everyone the internet outage that was frustrating and demoralizing and caused you to cuss and throw your hands up in the air. Let it go by for now. Give the teachers in the school system a chance. It was day one. I get your frustration. I understand parents of Charlottesville City students, you're concerned that your son or daughter are going to be left behind, especially as private schools are learning in person, especially as pods are learning in person with their peers. You're concerned of the social aspect. You're concerned of just frankly learning your ABCs and learning how to read. I get it. Give the school system a chance. Day one difficulty is not indicative of difficulty for the rest of the semester. We hope, and we're going to knock on IKEA furniture right now for you guys. The next headline, Judah Wickower, Dede Smith in about 2 minutes on today's program, comes from a new housing project planned from Market Street. I like this. It's going to go in the old, in the area where the Artful Lodger, it's on screen, guys, in the Artful Lodger livery stable area. Everyone on council voted in favor of this except for one person. You know who that one person was? Judah, why don't we go to the Judah cam? Let's see if we can know this. Put that microphone in front of you here. New housing, downtown Charlottesville, trying to create more housing for everybody. 4 counselors voted yes, 1 counselor voted no. J-Dubs, who do you think that was?
I mean, you've kind of given it away, right? It's Nakia.
Get out of town. It's Nakia Walker. Nakia Walker's voting against something. Shut the front door, dude. All right, here's a message to Nakia Walker. Someone tag her. In fact, I'll tag her later. What is the saying? Perfection is the enemy of production. Perfection is the enemy of productivity. I mean, it's something like that. We're never going to find perfect housing situation, Nakia. It's never going to happen, okay? And when you kibosh and vote against housing because it doesn't meet your model of what you want the city to look like, all you're doing is making the city and the county more expensive and less affordable for everyone. We need more housing. Nothing's going to be perfect, okay? The units that are going to be built on West Market Street, they're going to be deluxe. They're going to be pimp. They're going to be suite, okay? But when you have nice, sweet pimp housing, the folks that can afford it go to that. And then that opens up a next level of housing. And then a next level of housing that creates a trickle-down effect. So please implore you to see the forest through the trees. The next headline, Judah Wickower. In fact, you know what? I want to get to Dede. Dede's the bomb. Before we get to Dede, and Dede, I'm going to reach out to you in about 20 seconds here, you fabulous lady, you. Save $288 on Ting Fiber Internet, Judah Wickower. Let's tell them how. iloveseville.ting.com. Guys, we did it. We're running it here. It is the best internet in Charlottesville, Virginia. And we're offering it at a price that Ting is not even offering. And you can only get a $288 savings through this link, iloveseville.ting.com. I'm reaching out to Dede Smith right now, J-Dubs. In fact, it's ringing. I'm excited to see this lady. She's fantastic. We have her on screen. Dede, if we can get you to turn that camera on so we can see your fabulous face. There we go. Hello, how are you?
Hello. I can't see me, but...
You look great. I know every time I reach out to you, we're going to see that fabulous Beatles poster behind you, which I absolutely love.
I'm so glad you've done this.
It's fantastic,
it's very
Dede.
deliberate.
Yeah, I know it is. All right, let me...
And my turntable. Do you see my turntable?
I do. It looks like a 2020 version of a turntable. Nice to see you, Dede.
Cheap version of a turntable.
Okay. So you and I were touching base over Facebook Messenger over the weekend about a Washington Post article. You're a lot smarter than I am. I'm going to get out of your way here. Let's talk about this article because, I mean, it was on point, right?
Yeah, it really was. And, you know, in the meantime, actually, I joined a Facebook group called Pandemic Pods, and it's a national group. And it was fascinating because they raised all sorts of issues I hadn't even thought about. And there was a really good podcast on it on the legal questions because, you know, everyone seems to think, oh, I can do this. You know, I'll just get a group of kids and we'll do this and we'll do this. First thing everybody needs to know is if they're not, maybe this is obvious, if they're not following the school system's virtual education, they have to register to homeschool with their school. I mean, they actually do it with the school or the school system, one of the two, that they're in, which is actually really good because then we'll have a much better sense of enrollment, which I think is going to be really critical to just not only monitoring the situation, but to ultimately how this all plays out. So homeschooling, you have to not only register that you are homeschooling, there's some basic requirements. You also have to submit a curriculum. You can't just go, oh, I'm going to take the kids outside and we're going to do nature stuff. I
don't think a lot of people know that.
You know, I think it's once you think about it, think, oh, yeah. Of course. It's a law. You have to send your kids to some sort of school or a schooling kind of situation. The other one that came up in this Facebook group was if you have a certain number of children, depending a little bit on age, you have to have a child care license. Now, in Virginia, it's 5 or more children who are not your own.
Okay.
But if you're looking at some of the news articles that you just headlined, it's a big question, is what kind of license do you need to gather that many children in one space? And there are very good reasons for all the regulations. And I happen to know from Barrett that if you're serving children who qualify for subsidy, particularly any or most, like we're talking about Fry Springs Beach Club, there's all sorts of even more regulations. Particularly if you're going to be getting USDA money or any kind of subsidy money for the children. I mean, it's actually sort of an interesting idea is, can you get child care assistance? not educational assistance.
Sure. And let me
Can a
throw this to
family
you here.
actually get child care assistance?
There are pods that are happening, Dede, that I'm here. We still got
Are
you.
you back? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You're frozen for me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello.
You're good. You're good, Dede. We still got you. So one of the things we're hearing, and you're 100% good, one of the things we're hearing from a lot of the pods that are out there, J-Dubs, if you want to go to a one-shot for me here, you're 100% good. We got
Okay,
you.
are you still frozen for me? Should I hang up?
No,
hang
we're
up.
good. I'm going to send you something. Okay, I'll call her right back. We'll call you right back. We had you. I'm going to send this to her. You were good. And then I'm going to Skype her again. So one of the things that I'm hearing, hey, we got you.
Yeah, are we back? Are we back
Oh, we're
now?
back. We are back.
Okay, sorry. It just said network disconnected. Here we go.
No, I know, right? This happened at UVA. This happened at Charlottesville City Schools. Yeah, I'm going to throw this.
My neighborhood's time.
Right. Let me
Or
throw this to
yours.
you here. There are pods that are operating that I have legitimately heard of, and I'm not going to blow up their spot here. I don't want it because everyone's just trying to survive. But there are pods that are operating, not only that they do not have the stuff that you just outlined, but I've heard of 3 pods that are operating, and they don't even have insurance.
Yeah. I mean, that's what this, and I highly recommend anyone who's even thinking about doing this is to go on this Pandemic Pods. That's what it's called. It's Maine/Maine. It's very easy to get onto. They didn't ask me why I wanted to get on. And it was, I could get you the link to it probably, but it was really interesting. Of course, most laws will vary state to state, but
Sure.
I did go back and find out what Virginia you have to do. And so I think the child care licensing thing was really interesting. And of course, one of the things that you have to have if you cross that line is the supervisor, teacher, whatever. Most teachers would already have this. You have to have a background check.
Right.
I'm on the executive board of the Barrett Early Learning Center. I had to have a background check just to be on the an officer in the Barrett Early Learning Center. I didn't have anything to do with even interaction with the kids. So interestingly, on this legal advice podcast, the guy said, yes, I know this is going to make you uncomfortable, but every single person who is supervising those children should have a background check, no matter how well you know them. Isn't that fascinating?
That's fascinating, and I thank you for that. I mean, not only the background check, guys, the proper certifications like she's outlining, and the pods. If your kid is going to a pod, I would encourage anyone to make sure that there's insurance coverage.
And he talks about that in this podcast. He totally talks about that. And also, I mean, at some point, again, you cross a line, you become maybe not a child care, but a home business. And
right.
There's home business licenses, I know from City Council, and then there's zoning issues. When I was on council, we had before us a special use permit for someone to have not a very big in-home child care on, it was on McIntyre Road, because the zoning didn't permit it. So I'm not trying to make trouble. I just found this fascinating. It's like a
Me too.
puzzle. And, if this is going to persist, I mean, we really need to hash some of this stuff out. What else did I write down? Whoops, there you go. The other thing that I thought of, just in my menacing way, in my generation of raising children, which was a long time ago, we would often try to ask the very difficult question of, do you have guns in the house?
Wow. Yeah, that's a good question.
So, that's not a, do or die. It's just,
is it locked?
How are they secured? Are they locked up? Will the children see them? Well, particularly as the numbers get bigger. But it was fascinating to hear about Glenmore.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, $350 a week. They're learning on a tent in a parking lot. The internet is absolutely fantastic. And I did some reconnaissance on what they're doing. They literally have all their ducks in a row with the stuff you're talking about. It's $350 a week. I mean, that's $1,400 a month. We're talking, guys, close to $18,000. Was that $17,000 a year? $16,800. Quick math. That's a heck of a lot of money right there. for somebody to learn. That just shows you how much mom and dads want these kids to potentially get out of the house, also to learn with their peers. How about that Post article, Dede? What'd you think of the Washington Post article?
Yeah, I've read so many things since now, Jerry. I'm trying to conjure it again because I sent it right away to you. So ask me a question about it.
Well,
No,
it was essentially like school is going to very quickly evolve from these antiquated buildings into what we're doing now.
Right. And that, I think, is the million-dollar question. And it's really the million-dollar COVID question overall, is how will this, what ends up being probably at least a year, change everything fundamentally. But schools, of course, we talked about this last time, is schools could stand to change. And if this is going to be a springboard to at least rethinking, I'm not sure I would go so far as to say it should go to a pod model, because that's really getting back, threatening, resegregation, et cetera, et cetera. Not that we're that far from that anyway, but just really this model of smaller group. But as we talked about last time too, my greatest fear about this whole acceptance of podding and et cetera is that what will happen is that the rich kids will get teachers and the poor kids will get volunteers. That it will make the divide so much bigger, immediately, whatever. But Fry Springs Beach Club, block away from my house. So that was fascinating. I find it, and it sounds like you know this place too. I've known it for decades now. It's a little hard to imagine it would
Right?
pass regulations just physically.
Right. I mean, what are they going to learn in the bar over there in the wood-paneled room?
The bar's the nicest place.
Yeah, I go into the beach, and I love the beach club. I'm not knocking the beach
do
club.
too.
She loves the beach club as well. The beach club makes the Fry Springs neighborhood so fantastic and really contributes to the sense of community. But the beach club has not been aesthetically revamped in decades. That's fair, right?
Air conditioned for one thing.
Right.
I had a pivotal birthday. I won't tell you which one. A party there. Because it's the best dance floor in the whole city. I mean, it's such a good dance floor. And maybe you could have different booths. The booths? I love the booths. So you could just put 2 children in each booth. I mean, it's really fun to think about, but the bathrooms, maybe. But
Right.
there are reasons why we have regulations when we're dealing with children. Now, the Boys and Girls Club, I'm sure, James Pierce, I love him. He's great. Yeah. I'm sure he knows what he's doing, but it's just a little hard to imagine.
Dede, I'm going to ask you in a couple minutes to see your best dance moves.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to ask you. All right, let me throw this before I see your best dance moves, because Dede Smith can move, guys. Before I ask that from you, how about Barrett Early Learning Center? Give us some insight to what's going on there, because that's another fantastic resource for us here.
Oh, let me tell you about Barrett. I mean, this is great. Go on YouTube at some point, and just Google Barrett Early Learning Center. And the video I posted is the 80th anniversary from 2015. This place has been around since 1935. It was in Vinegar Hill in the old Daughters of Zion building. That's where it started. It was totally so critical to the community. I won't go into the whole story, but just watch the video. You'll get it all in the video. But it's a fantastic place. It's been so important to particularly the African American community. Of course, we are now an integrated system, and so Barrett is also integrated. Has been on Ridge Street since 1958, when the United Way was given a house, and then the United Way gave it to Barrett. I mean, it's a great story. It's such a good story. But there's been a lot of focus in the last, particularly 7 years, because it almost closed in 2013 for a variety of reasons, I shouldn't say it's been a focus for actually now probably 2 decades of really upping the game in education, and really with that recognition that you can't just look to public preschools. You can't just look to private preschools. This is childcare. There are a lot of children in childcare whose parents need to have their children cared for all day. And so we are integrating the really strong educational focus in the childcare setting. And we have become a model, really, a model for lots of other childcare centers in Charlottesville. We work very closely with Ready Kids, with United Way, with the university. I mean, it's really a fantastic place. Yet we still serve majority of our children. Families do qualify for some sort of subsidy, and we have a sliding scale. But it's a fantastic place, and we closed mid-March, but we opened very early June, right June 2nd or something, with real stringent sanitation. We also only have half the number of children purposefully, because that allows us to keep everything very safe and secure. But I think we're modeled for that too. We have not had any COVID cases.
Nice.
We're working through all of the changing phases, and we have a huge backyard, so we're able to use the outdoors. We have 3 entrances. We have 3 classrooms and 3 separate entrances. Just happen to, because there's fire escapes all over. So I mean, it's fascinating to watch. I miss it. I used to be over there a lot. I would do gardening with the kids, and I did a lot of things, and I don't do that anymore because we minimize all outside exposure, so I sort of miss that. But the house is 104 years old.
Right.
But we had major renovations in the last 5 years from, community organizations that around town that we just really put their all into making sure this place stayed alive. It's the oldest child care center in Virginia.
Right. In fact, that might be a trivia question for us on the show. Judah, will you write that down? Because we need trivia questions, and that's a local one. What is the oldest child care center in the Commonwealth? That'll be a question this week. Hey, if you if anyone at Barrett or anyone on the board or executive director, anybody, if they ever need some exposure or want to tell the story or some fundraising, I'm happy to do it. Seriously?
Wonderful. Yeah. It's such a good story too. I mean, really, the video's 15 minutes long, but you get it all in the first 5 minutes too, although the whole thing is really lovely. But I think you'd really come away and you just get it. You just get it, why this is so important. And it is now, here, finally, in 2020, people are really looking to their African American history. It is a really big piece of our local African American history, is Barrett Early Learning Center, and is a real reflection even of the whole course of how we've changed in this community. So yeah, don't get me started.
I love getting you started. I mean, you are a show.
The other one, Jerry, that you could I think you would love to highlight is something else I'm intimately involved with, and that is the preservation of the farmhouse at Ivy Creek Natural Area, because Ivy Creek Natural Area, which I used to run, I was the director for 14 years, is an African American heritage site. Okay. And it's one of the few, it's jointly owned by the city and county. It's one of the few physical sites that Charlottesville or Albemarle County own that has African American heritage. I mean, there's not
many left. Yeah.
But not many. Daughters of Zion Cemetery, another fantastic story. And that whole effort to restore, I mean, you got to do that one too.
Sure, I would love to.
We could do a whole series on local African American history on the ground being preserved and the story it tells. And
I genuinely mean this. You have carte blanche on this show. If you reach out to me and say this person should be on it, they're on. I mean, I trust your judgment.
Don't get me started, but as I say, and I just wanted to reiterate that these stories are incredibly uplifting stories. They're not just lynchings.
They're positive.
They're positive, yeah. And they show the strength of the community, and it particularly back when the African American community in Charlottesville was so cohesive and so strong. I don't want to say one way or the other whether we've lost that. It's not mine to say, but
I love this lady. I love
Do
this
it.
lady. She has the energy of a 20-year-old. She could be a show all by herself. I can relate to her talking to her hands and her energy. I love
know,
this lady.
sorry.
No, it's great. It's contagious. All right, I'm going to ask you to see if we can get some of your Dede Smith dance moves. Are you going to give us some dance moves on this show?
Somewhat.
Some dance moves?
Oh, dance with, I love to dance.
I know you do.
No.
No, oh, man. I had to ask.
It's actually what I miss in this COVID era more than anything is, in my age, I evolved to any exercise that looks like dancing.
Okay.
Whether it's Nia or Zumba or Dance Fusion. I miss those because we don't do group things anymore. In fact, I won't say where, yesterday, I went to my very first group exercise thing and I came away going, no, can't do that. Can't do it.
Well, you made us better today, per usual. Seriously, anything you want to, whether it's any story on the show.
Great. Well, let's talk. We'll talk, and I'd love to do a series on these African American history sites. I think it would be of a lot of interest right now. A lot of people are paying attention, which is
I
nice.
agree. Thank you so much, Dede.
Thanks.
You're
nice
the best.
to see you all.
You too, Dede Smith, guys. I love Dede Smith. I love Dede Smith. Christopher Eagle, if you're watching, we're going to you in 1 minute, Christopher Eagle. 1 minute for you, Christopher Eagle, to talk real estate market. Still on the program. And Judah, why don't we give some love to Interstate Pest and Service Companies, a home's best friend, Interstate Pest and Service Companies. Since 1969, Interstate Pest and Service Companies has made this community better for everybody. It is a 4-generation family-owned business. 434-295-6565. I do not even know my phone number or my wife's phone number, but I know 434-295-6565 of Interstate Pest and Service Company's phone number, okay? A home's best friend. Still to come on the show, and before we get to Christopher Eagle, still to come, the Police Civilian Review Board is now looking to hire independent counsel as it goes toe-to-toe with Charlottesville City Council for its autonomy and independence. This squabble, this friction, this brouhaha, this knockdown, drag-out fight, again, originated with our mayor. Okay? These are facts, what I'm saying to you. We're still going to cover the Atlantic Coast Conference and Mike Krzyzewski of Duke proposing a brand new NCAA tournament that includes every single Division I basketball team. Mike Krzyzewski does not want to play out of conference games. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned to you that the scuttlebutt I was hearing was the ACC was pushing for a bubble concept like the National Basketball Association in Orlando, and the bubble concept would aggregate ACC schools in certain cities, with Richmond perhaps being the city for the Commonwealth because of the Siegel Center and VCU and the Robbins Center at University of Richmond, the only city that has 2 legitimate basketball arenas. So that story coming up. How about Mayor Bill de Blasio of NYC, New York City, and Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York, being called the Grim Reapers of restaurants and what I think is one of the best cities in the world, the Big Apple. That story coming up for you. And how about this concept? We have an athletic department at the University of Virginia and an athletic department at Virginia Tech, and frankly, athletic departments across America that are begging their alumni and their supporters for help and support. GoFundMe campaigns. The athletic departments are still, despite begging us for money, they are still housing their students, athletes, their managers, their support staff, their coaches and staff in high-dollar hotel rooms on Friday nights before Saturday football games and dropping $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 on food, on filet mignon, on steaks, on hotel rooms, on projectors, on meeting space. If you're begging for money, should you be doing for that? ESPN pink slips the Hank Williams song on Monday Night Football. Virginia Tech moves students out of dorms because of COVID and gives them a 20% reduction. All those stories coming up before Christopher Eagle. I'm ringing UC Eagle right now. Christopher Eagle of Real Estate 3, fixing the hair over here. Christopher Eagle looking sharp. He's on the line right now. This is a talented realtor. a man who's built a killer brand on social media, a guy who's got the best chin strap in the business, a guy who understands housing and real estate like the Pope knows holy water. Boys and girls, it's Christopher Eagle. You got some big shoes to follow here, the former Vice Mayor Christopher Eagle, but I have a feeling you're going to fill those shoes no problem. Good afternoon, my friend.
What's up, buddy, man? What's going on, baby?
We're doing well. Before we talk shop in the market, how about an introduction of Christopher Eagle, passions, hobbies, and interests?
Man, let's see. I'm 38 days from getting married, so that's probably the biggest thing right now. So definitely putting that's the forefront of everything that's going on in Christopher Eagle's world. Outside of that, man, I love having fun with real estate, and then with that, just, I don't know, more a laid-back guy. I like to have fun. Be outdoors, hang out with friends, family, do some cool stuff, man. So I don't, nothing crazy. I'm a dude that's born and raised in Charlottesville, man. So I've always been around this area, always doing stuff. So it's fun, man.
Let's talk about the wedding. 38 days away. Has the wedding plan? How have they changed?
Oh man, it was crazy. Probably for the first, I don't know, March, probably until like the middle of the summer, because everything changed. We had 3 or 4 friends that are all supposed to get married in the springtime, and all of theirs had to change. So we were, patiently and impatiently kind of watching and waiting to see what happens. And luckily, we're getting married up in Guilford Farm up there in Greene County. So, Greene County's a little bit more lax compared to Albemarle. So we're kind of good, We're extending the rows a little bit in the ceremony to kind of give some more social distancing, adding a few more tables for the reception to kind of give some more social distancing, and we've kind of extended the time for dinner so that way people aren't bunched up too much at the food type of thing. And then instead of being a buffet style, the caterers will serve the food to people. But other than that, man, we're trying to push full steam ahead. Of course, COVID is still a caution, but we're trying to still just kind of keep things as normal as we can. So it's definitely stressful planning a wedding, but we're getting there.
I love it. Christopher Eagle, born and raised in this area. Let's talk about some of your memories before we talk real estate of this area. Growing up here, school, obviously a hot button topic right now. Dude, we've been talking about on this show how we're seeing that wealth gap increase in this community. I'm sure you've seen it firsthand growing up. Anywhere you want to go on any of these topics, Christopher, the show's yours.
Oh, gosh, man. I would not expect that as a question. Oh, man. So, I'm a product, right? I'm a product of Albemarle County Public Schools. Stone Robinson, Burley, Monticello High School. It's crazy. It's weird, right? My mom actually is a teacher's assistant for Greer Elementary School in the county, and she started her first day back on Tuesday. And just talking to her last night, she was like, it was just weird and crazy. She works with some of the special needs kids, so, it was even kind of weirder and tougher on her end. And, you got to wear a mask, and I got to, she's like, today I have like 7 Zoom calls lined up from kids that are in kindergarten to 5th grade, and it's like just nuts, man. And I think, I don't know, it's weird because, when I grew up, things were fine. We didn't face a pandemic like we are now, and it was kind of like just get up and go to school type thing. And, now it's like, well, we got to be cautious of all these things. And I'm glad that I don't have kids yet and have to deal with this because this is freaking nuts, man. But I think the biggest worry that I have is just for those kids that are at that bottom of the wealth gap. That they need to come to school for that to get out of the home life, and their home life just isn't good. And, whether or not they have internet or not, it just still isn't the best situation for them to be in. And I think that's the hardest thing and the biggest gap. And I think, I don't know what this does for just kids learning. Does this put a pause on kids, being able to grow more and learn more because they're not in the school environment? And does that only benefit the people that are, say, middle class to upper middle class and, all that? And then it sort of pushes the people that are low class or, lower class that, they get caught up or held up where they're at right now because of what we're doing and what's happening for virtual learning. I don't know, man. I don't know the answer. I'm
Dude,
not
that
that
was a
good.
good take. That was a great take right there. That was a great take. So, Christopher, how are you seeing the pandemic, and this is in your wheelhouse here, how are you seeing the pandemic impact your business, which is real estate? Like I said, this dude, a rock star, Real Estate 3, I mean, he is a rock star. How is it impacting your business?
Oh man, it's impacted my business a pretty good amount, honestly. I mean, when everything hit back in the spring, nobody knew what was happening and what was going on. And I think, projecting, right, I got engaged in January, things were slowly going good for 2020, and then it was like, the brakes came on and everything stopped. And I had definitely a bunch of clients that all were kind of like, yeah, I'm good. Like I'm out. I'm gonna take a pause. Like I'll come back later. And the crazy thing is that as we kept going from March and April all the way to now, interest rates kept dropping. And that was a great thing. It was perfect for a lot of buyers. But then, as a ton of people have, keep saying, and on your show too, it's just like, there's no inventory. So we're all out here kind of fighting each other to show the same houses. And then a lot of these houses are just going under contract quickly in a couple of days, multiple offers coming on the table. So you got to be ready to fight when you come for it. And then, it's potentially you got a 1 in 3, 1 in 5, 1 in 7 chance of your clients getting the house. So it's crazy. COVID has been weird. My business has definitely been impacted and, not in the ways that I'd want it to be. But all I can do is keep going forward and, given that woo man mentality or as I've been dubbed, the Ric Flair of real estate. So I just, bring that positive energy, man, of anything I can do and, just serve people the best I can.
I love it. And we love this guy. He is the Ric Flair of real estate. He is a star. So do you set the expectations with your clients? I mean, and how difficult is that conversation? You got a 1 in 5, 1 in 6, 1 in 7 chance to get this home. You better lead with your best foot forward. Your chance to negotiate and chisel some money off that price ain't going to happen in this moment. How does that conversation work?
I mean, basically the way you just said, man. I mean, with everybody, I do set that expectation of like, look, interest rates are great, so it is a fantastic time for you to buy, and I'm here for the entire thing. But you do need to know that, depending on the price range of the people too, that can make a little bit of a difference. But, you're looking in that 200, 300 price range, good location, good neighborhood, houses in good condition. I mean, you got to be ready. You got to be ready to go. I showed one over the weekend to clients of mine, and that house was on the market for like 3 or 4 days, and then by the end of the day, 5 offers had come on that house. Wow. And I just told them, I said, hey, we need to go in strong, and I would almost suggest going in with your final and best. That way it's already there on the table and we'll see what happens and can go from there. And maybe we get it, maybe we don't. We don't know what else the other people are giving us. So, yeah, I try to set clear expectations, no matter now or back in the past before COVID or for the future. I always try to set some really good expectations for my clients to know and understand as we go forward.
Which price points are gangbusters? And second part of the question, which areas of Central Virginia, not just the city, but Central Virginia, are red hot that you're seeing?
Oh, man. I would say I call it like the average everyday buyer class, which is like your good like 200 to 300 range. That's hot. I mean, godly Moses, man, it's hot as all get out. What areas, man? I think Crozet still got some stuff on and popping out there. The one over the weekend was up at Briarwood, that's just north of the airport, across from Injic. Man, I know, of course, Albemarle County has always got some stuff on and popping, man. And I think, as you can kind of see recently, there's definitely some action, and I haven't done much of it, but there's definitely some action happening out there in like Nelson. Nelson's kind of blowing up a little bit, and Green's got a little bit of action going on too. So, I always tell people, if it's a good neighborhood, good subdivision in Albemarle County, then it's, it ain't gonna last long.
Is it safe to characterize it a seller's market? Or do we characterize it as it's definitely sellers?
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah. Our inventory's low. There's not a ton. So, I mean, sellers some of them are making out like bandits right now, man. It's crazy.
So your advice to anybody, and we talk about this often, I guess if you were looking for a time, it's now to list the home, right?
For sure, and I think it's also a hard part though, because if you're not planning, so if you're either planning on staying in Charlottesville and say upgrading or downgrading the side of the house, your house, or if you're looking at going out, moving somewhere, the hard part is you could sell your house, it could sell quickly, but then you may not have someplace else to go or someplace else to buy because inventory is low. So it also depends on the person and what their future goal is and what their future needs are. But for sure, I mean, if you've got a good house in good condition, I mean, crap, man, it's a great time to sell right now, man. Oh my gosh, I'd love to, let me get a Ric Flair video going on that house for you, get it all over the internet. Nobody else is doing it, man, only me. So I'll get it out there for them.
Let me throw this to you here: expectations for people that are listing in COVID, and how you're managing those expectations from a safe and health standpoint, because you and your colleagues and the entire association, you guys are doing a hell of a job with this, Christopher.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was definitely, I would say it was tough, as we all were trying to figure out how to navigate those waters, way back in the spring now. But now I think we've all kind of figured it out. And I think part of it, too, is first, I think, is just looking at the actual homeowner and kind of seeing where they're at, because everybody has a different stance on this thing. And then I think from there, if they want to be super cautious, that's totally fine. And we absolutely kind of just set that expectation for them and for the realtors and the realtors' clients that are coming through to see the house. Please wear a mask, or, put gloves on, or take your shoes off. Hand sanitizer or wipes are at the door. Please do minimal touching throughout the house type of thing. So it's, at this point, it's pretty easy. And I think 95 to 99% of us are all following that stuff and whatever else. And we're trying to be respectful of people's houses, and no matter if our clients get it or they don't like it or however that goes. And, that's the only thing we can do, really. And it's, I think most of my clients have all been fine with it and understanding of it. And it's really not too much of an issue. It is a little bit more of a hassle because, it's not something we're used to, or it's not normal for, normally looking at houses, but it is what it is. And we're taking it as we can and, rolling with it. And, houses are still selling. So it's not stopping people.
Love this guy. I love his energy on social media. I would be remiss not to see the Ric Flair of real estate in action. He does something called Top Tip Tuesday, and I know it's Wednesday. I know it's Wednesday, but we're gonna take a DeLorean. We're gonna set the flux capacitor to 88 miles per hour, and we're gonna go back to September 7th, 2020, which is yesterday, for a Top Tip Tuesday. And I'm just gonna give you this show, and I want to hear a 60-second Top Tip Tuesday from Real Estate 3's Christopher Eagle, because I think you guys are going to love it. Judah Wickhauer, let's hear Top Tip Tuesday. Christopher Eagle, the show is yours.
I need a tip, man. What do you want?
How about anything you want to go? You've done so many Top Tip Tuesdays, anywhere you want to go.
I know that's the problem, man. It's like I've done so many of these things, and like my.
How about getting your house ready for COVID?
Oh, okay. Do you want me to time it or just roll with it?
No, roll with it, baby. Just give me the energy. You have carte blanche.
All right, man. Let me get some water.
Okay.
I'm going to scare my colleagues in the office, man. Here we go. This is funny, man. I don't do it in front of people, so it's even funnier, man.
Don't let us down.
What's up, everybody? It's Christopher Eagle, baby, man. It's Top Tip Tuesday. Tuesday, my favorite day of the week. Now, this is what's happening. We all know COVID-19, it is wreaking havoc on our lives, but that's okay. We're fighting it day by day, and we're going over it. But the big thing is, it's a seller's market, which means it's a time for you to put your house on the market. And you need to know that even with COVID, there are cautions that we're going to take, right? We're going to make sure that people are wearing masks. We're going to make sure that they put some gloves on and they touch everything. They're going to sanitize their hands before and after leaving your home. They're going to wipe some stuff down. They're going to touch as minimal as possible. All right, we're going to open the closets so they can peek in them. but they ain't going to breathe in them, so they ain't going to give you the virus. Don't worry about that, baby. And then what they're going to end up doing, they're going to take a look. Right, we're going to turn all the lights on before they show up. They won't even touch those, so you're all good there. All right, and then they're going to not stay in it too long, right? We do want them to see it, but they can't stay too long because we don't need them sucking up your air and potentially giving you the virus. So what we need to do is just take all these cautions, know that we are here for you. I'm here for you every step of the way, and we're going to make sure that everything is safe when your house is being shown, and we're going to get that thing sold for you the only way possible, and that's the woo way, baby. It's Christopher Eagle. It's Top Tip Tuesday. Woo!
I love it. Christopher Eagle, you just hit a grand slam, dude. Better than Ric Flair. Better than Ric Flair. Christopher, thank you so much for joining us today, my friend.
You're welcome, man. Absolutely. Come on anytime, man. Let me know.
I will. I certainly will. You have a good afternoon. Christopher Eagle, Real Estate 3. What a fantastic interview right there is. J-Dubs, if you can get that side panel for me, my friend, that would mean a lot to me. Folks, if you want to get your comments in the comment section, put them in the comment section now, and we will get to your perspective. Remember, this show is syndicated on Spotify. We put this on Apple Podcasts. We put this on iTunes. We put this on the I Love CVille network. We put this on YouTube. We put this, guys, on every social media platform for you to watch the show retroactively at your leisure and at your convenience. That's the beautiful thing about using social media for the good. Christopher Eagle, you were on fire. Give the show a like and a share. Put your comments in the comment section now, and we will get to them in a matter of moments. Still to come on the show, we will be talking the Police Civilian Review Board hiring independent counsel. Or looking to hire independent counsel. We still need to talk Judah Wickower on this program. The ACC proposing a new NCAA tournament. De Blasio and Como potentially being the Grim Reapers of restaurants in New York City. New York City, get a rope, paste picante sauce. College football and $5,000 plus for hotel rooms before game day. And Virginia Tech moving students out of dorms, giving them a 20% rebate. And kicking them out of dorms so they could use them for quarantine, guys. Give the show a like and a share on any of the platforms you're watching. Judah, I think the next headline we need to get to, my friend, is the Civilian Review Board headline. And the Police Civilian Review Board, and I reached out, what is her name? Was her name Sarah? Let me see if I can find it on Twitter. I reached out on Twitter through a direct message to the previous, I believe she was the term executive director. Somebody help me with this. I'm going to my DMs right here. Sarah Burke. Sarah Burke had a fantastic thread about the challenges of working with city council and how they're doing a disservice to the community. She straight up is referencing Mayor Walker. She did not want to come on the show, which is fine, and I understand. Long story short, the review board is looking to hire independent counsel to maintain its autonomy. And remember, the city council tried last week to put on the independent police civilian review board, they tried to place city council, a paid employee of Charlottesville City, on a board that is supposed to hold the police and council accountable. Immediately, the Civilian Review Board said, hell no, you can't put somebody on this board that's got city paycheck every 2 weeks deposit into their account. Now the Police Civilian Review Board is literally looking to hire independent counsel to maintain its autonomy and independence from City Hall. Folks, this situation, while it's not a sexy situation from like a talking standpoint, this situation, you know what, I'm going to say some very pointed, I'm going to offer some very pointed commentary here. Okay, some very pointed commentary. This brouhaha, this toe-to-toe squabble, this knockdown, drag-out fight is frankly a microcosm of our mayor's tenure in Charlottesville. I mean, last night, if you watched the end of the city council meeting, and I encourage anyone watching the show to go to the Charlottesville government Facebook page and watch the end of the meeting, you saw the mayor fighting Lloyd Snook, like straight up freaking arguing with Lloyd Snook. I mean, to say it was uncomfortable is an understatement. And folks all the time say, why are you always giving this person a hard time? Guys, the reason I do is because of where she stands on housing. She's constantly looking for the most perfect scenario, which frustrates developers, and then developers just choose to build property that's by right that ends up just being expensive because they can't make her perfect scenario work. She can't get along with the Police Civilian Review Board. She doesn't get along with most of the counselors, certainly not Heather Hill and Lloyd Snook. Okay? It's a Christmas list of beef and issues. She's calling Bellamy Brown, who is running for council, toxic, S-H-I-T, despite Bellamy Brown being a native of the area, a veteran, a taxpayer, and someone that's looking to do well by the community. I mean, it's like she can't get along with Tanisha Hudson. Literally, her and Tanisha Hudson fight constantly on city council meetings. It's exhausting. It is exhausting. And folks, there is without question, a place for activism and activists in our community. And folks, we need activism and activists in this community more than ever to help bridge social inequalities and to help close this wealth gap. We need activists. We love and welcome activists. That place is not on council as the mayor of Charlottesville. Going in the New York Times and basically disparaging the community in the world's newspaper, in the New York Times, that is not what a mayor does. That is not what a mayor does. Please tell her I'm saying this. Frankly, I say it straight up to her. So I'm not speaking behind her back. This is nothing new. Activism is welcome. Activism is needed. Activism is paramount in 2020, September, to bridge inequalities and this wealth gap that's obvious. However, its place is not as the mayor. I can't say that more pointed, can I? The next headline comes from the Atlantic Coast Conference. Mike Krzyzewski is leading this charge. Go to ESPN and read this story. Good night, good night, good night. Mike Krzyzewski, who is the most influential college basketball coach. I'd say John Calipari at Kentucky is probably second, right? Mike Krzyzewski, Roy Williams is up there well. Mike Krzyzewski is leading a charge. Several ACC coaches are backing Mike Krzyzewski, where they are proposing an expanded version of the NCAA tournament that would include every single Division I team. It's on the screen. It's on the screen. Krzyzewski is spearheading the push for an all-inclusive NCAA tournament. ACC coaches voted Wednesday to propose the expanded 2021 NCAA tournament. The coaches do not want to play out-of-conference games during the season for fear of spread of COVID. As a result, they're looking to do a pod or bubble scenario similar to the NBA for a regular season, and then expand the tournament to all Division I teams to allow those Division I teams that play the Dukes or the Virginias or the Louisvilles or the Kentuckys of the world. If you're a low-level Division I team and you're playing a Duke or a Kentucky, you're making bank for your school. So when you take the out-of-conference games out, it hurts the low-level schools from a financial standpoint. So Krzyzewski's saying, let's table these out-of-conference games. Let's weave them into an expanded big dance. And this will still allow the lower conference, the lower-seeded, the mid-majors, the low-major schools to still make their money. He's just trying to get through the season. It's a good idea. It's a good idea. A couple more things on this topic. Remember, the NCAA tournament was canceled this past year. And it was devastating because us Wahoo fans wanted to defend our title. So the NCAA, because it canceled that tournament, you know what happened? It lost over $390 million in revenue, which represented more than 90% of the money the NCAA makes every year because that tournament was canceled. Remember, in college football, the football playoffs, the college football playoffs, those are not run by the NCAA. So with football off the table from a money-making standpoint, they got the round ball. They got basketball. And if the tournament gets canceled on back-to-back years, college coaches are straight up saying the NCAA could go bankrupt. No one expected the big dance to get canceled. Nobody. Follow that story closely because it's a big one and will undoubtedly impact Virginia Tech, the University of Virginia, and ACC and college basketball across the country. Next question, next headline comes from a city that means a lot to me. You know, if you watch this show, my wonderful better half spent 8 years working at Blackstone, the hedge fund. Lived, 8 years on the Upper East Side. De Blasio, the mayor, and Cuomo, the governor. You get that headline on screen for me, J-Dubs? Look at the screen. De Blasio and Cuomo are crushing restaurants in the city. You can visit Manhattan's Museum of Modern Art, and you can admire Andy Warhol's Campbell soup cans, but you cannot enjoy a meal inside a restaurant right next door to the MoMA, to the Museum of Modern Art. I'm going to repeat that. In New York City, because of Bill de Blasio and the governor, you can go to the Manhattan's Museum of Modern Art. You can admire Warhol's Campbell soup cans, but you cannot go into a restaurant and enjoy a tomato soup inside. I mean, enough is enough. When is the indoor dining going to open in the Big Apple? It's been nearly 6 months since the governor and the mayor mandated that Gotham restaurants shut down their indoor dining. That's left thousands of New Yorkers without jobs. It's crushing the industry. Take it a step further. On Long Island, just minutes away from Queens, on Long Island, just a short drive from Queens, you can go inside restaurants, patronize, and eat some tomato soup inside. So Manhattanites are not only sprinting from the city because of real estate, because of fear of COVID, because of fear of riding the subway. Manhattanites are not only sprinting from New York City because de Blasio is putting homeless and sex offenders in hotel rooms and in hotels and in family neighborhoods. And moms and dads and children are literally walking out their apartments and seeing sex offenders doing sketchy things with their private parts. That's literally happening in their neighborhood. Okay? On top of that, you can't eat inside in a restaurant. Enough is enough. The Grim Reapers are killing this city. The next headline from college football, J-Dubs. Get it on screen, dog. College football, how about this? The University of Virginia Athletic Department has a GoFundMe, and it's basically begging for money. The Virginia Tech Athletic Department has a GoFundMe, and it's basically begging for money. Save us. Save us. Our athletic department is bleeding. It's hemorrhaging money. Save us. Donate to this GoFundMe. Yet the athletic departments are putting their football players, their support staff, their coaches, their trainers, their tutors in a bus, and they're taking them to 5-star hotel rooms, and they're racking up $6,000 and $7,000 and $8,000 and $5,000 hotel bills on steaks, on salads, crab and shrimp, and filet mignon, and using their conference rooms and using their projectors and their big screens to get their players ready for game day. So let me understand something here. Right down the street in the McHugh Center? Right down the street in Charlottesville, you got a projector in a meeting room. You got a dining hall. You got safe COVID situation. Yet you choose to put the kids in a bus and take them to a hotel and rack up 6 G's of invoice of debt because you want to put these dudes in a hotel to keep them focused for game day. That reeks of something. You know what that reeks of? Hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. Jerry, I need your money. I know you bleed orange and blue, Jerry. I know you get season tickets. I know you will support us. We're going to beg and pass the hat to you, Jerry, and insist that you support us because our athletic department is hemorrhaging money. But shh. Don't tell people. We're going to take these football players to the hotel for Friday night before college football. We're going to rack up 6, 7 G's of debt, 8 G's, 9 G's of debt, because we want them focused on game day. That reeks of hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. You know what else reeks of hypocrisy? Telling students at a university that it's unsafe for you to learn in a classroom or on grounds or on campus. Except for you 90 or 100 football players, you have to tackle each other, bleed on each other, breathe on each other, sweat on each other, fall on each other. You have to take this football and bring it across that goal line, and you have to do it in person because you make this university hundreds of millions of dollars. That's indentured servanthood. That is indentured servants. And I love college football. I love sports. I started in sports. That ain't right. ESPN, Judah, quickly has pink slipped the Hank Williams song for Monday Night Football. Are you ready for some football? That's no more. That ain't going to happen on Monday Night Football. Hank Williams is out. All his rowdy friends are out. Take a seat, you pink slip dog. The intro song, Monday Night Football, is now going to be performed by Little Richard. The network confirmed a report Tuesday that Hank Williams, all my rowdy friends are coming over for Monday Night Football, is being replaced by Rip It Up, a Little Richard song. That song a hit for Little Richard in 1956. It's going to feature his vocals atop a new instrumental track performed by Virginia-based band Butcher Brown. ESPN says, in this social justice climate, Hank Williams and what he stands for is out. And ESPN says, in this social justice climate, Little Richard is in. The next headline, before we get to your comments, put the comments in now. If you like the show, put the comments in the comment section now. I'm going to relay them on screen in about 45 to 90, maybe 2 minutes. 45, 90 seconds, maybe 120 seconds on the show. This one, a concerning headline. The last one, J-Dubs, before we get out of here. And Judy, you see we did the 90-minute show today. And you see the 90-minute show was damn good. I encourage you to find a broadcaster in Charlottesville or Central Virginia that can go 90 minutes without a commercial airing and without a break. I think you'd be far-fetched to find one. Virginia Tech is going to move 70 students from dorms. It's on screen now. And these 70 students are getting pieced out, hit the road jacked, jettisoned, removed from their residence halls to free up space for some quarantining on campus. Virginia Tech says, little Susie, little Johnny, you're 18 years old, little Susie, little Johnny, it's an unsafe environment, little Susie, little Johnny. We know you just put up your Kelly Kapowski poster, little Susie, little Johnny, on the wall. Little Susie, little Johnny, we know you got your Zach Morris poster and your Kelly Kapowski cutout under the bed at your dorm, but you need to get the heck out of here. And little Susie, little Johnny, we'll give you a 20% reduction on dormitory pricing, on housing costs. Little Susie and little Johnny don't care about a 20% reduction. Little Susie and little Johnny have to move all their stuff without their mommy and daddies to a new place. You be a first year, a freshman at Virginia Tech. You be a freshman at Virginia Tech, you don't have mom and dad in their cars moving you somewhere to help you out. You think that's going to be easy? You think that Kelly Kapowski or Zach Morris poster is going to stay? Christopher Wallace, that Biggie Smalls, that Notorious B.I.G. poster? Come on now. Come on now. Put the comments in the comment section. Put the comments in the comment section now. Give the show a like and a share. J-Dubs, let's remind them of the I Love CVille Daily Digest, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. You like this show? We do this show in a 5-minute version, 5 minutes or less. 5 p.m. every Monday through Friday. It's called the I Love CVille Daily Digest. J-Dubs, how about a little love for Scott Wagner of Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine? Love the good doctor. Scott Wagner, Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. Who's got your back? The good doctor's got your back. Scott Wagner of Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. Comments coming in now. Barbara Lundgren is bummed about BreadWorks. Me too, Barb. Make sure you tune into the Virginia Wedding and Event Showcase tomorrow at 10:15 with Barbara Lundgren. I am bummed about BreadWorks as well. We need to do what we can for the folks that don't have a job or lost their job from BreadWorks to see if we can get them employed again. Keith Smith says, sad news about BreadWorks. The heart was for I Love CVille. Thank you, Keith Smith. Yeah, dude. Neil, I saw your headline, Neil. Neil Williamson, Free Enterprise Forum. I saw your headline. Neil Williamson, I swear, man, you have carte blanche on this show anytime you want to come on. Neil, if you come on this show, you will get fundraising for your operation. You're looking for fundraising now. I will give you as much time as you want to talk about your business and the Free Enterprise Forum and help you get brand exposure and awareness and drive fundraising. We're doing it for the Thomas Jefferson Planning Commission, the Thomas Jefferson Land Trust. We will help you, Neil. Did you see what we helped do for the fireworks, Neil? We will do the same for you. You just got to come on the show. Neil put a link in the feed about Crozet, and I saw this before the show. Neil put a link in the show about Crozet thinking about outlawing apartments. I mean, good God. Let's take an area in Crozet, Virginia that is already constrained from a land standpoint, and it's already expensive as all get out. You know what a house in Old Trail's running these days? Five bills plus, $500K and over, right? For a post stamp size lot and some new construction, 500 and up, and we're talking about disallowing apartments in Crozet. What the heck is that? Let's see if we can make Crozet a bastion or a playground of the only rich people in the area. And that's what's going to happen when you take away apartments, the type of housing that folks need when they're either just breaking into the job force or they're looking for something affordable for them to have. Let's see if we can turn Crozet into nothing but the rich and white folk, because that's what's happening if you disallow apartments. Neil, anytime you want to come on the show. Olivia Branch. Oh, I love Olivia. Olivia's got style for days. Olivia's got shoe collection that would make Scarpa jealous. And I say that because Olivia got most of those shoes at Scarpa. Olivia Branch, I love you. She says, I'm a proud Barrett graduate. It was the only place children of color could attend in the 1960s. Olivia, I'm going to reach out to Dede and see if we can get somebody from the Barrett Early Learning Center on the show so we can characterize and spotlight the evolution and the history of this phenomenal brand and this phenomenal child care facility. Seriously, Olivia, seriously. Andy Wilfong. This is about Christopher Eagle. I legitimately almost hired him as a realtor, Christopher Eagle, simply because he does the Ric Flair, woo! And I enjoy his hot tip Tuesdays. I think it's top tip Tuesdays. Either way, Christopher Eagle, you bring that energy. I don't miss a single upload. I agree. Neither do I, Christopher. The only reason we didn't hire him, Andy says, was because someone else, another realtor, already showed up. My wife showed my wife the house before I got a chance to look at it. That's like my family. Wife calling the shots over there. And she would say, yeah, right, Jerry, you call the shots. That's literally what she would say. And then I would say, yeah, right, sweetheart, you call the shots. This is how it works in our house. She's the CEO of the house. I'm the CEO of the things outside the house. Is that fair, Mrs. Miller? I think that's fair. Andy says, the next house is all yours, Christopher. I also have a place in Briar Woods that's sitting empty. Maybe we can chat soon. Wow, I like that. James Watson, maybe Disney can keep the bubble in place for the next tournament. That's not a bad idea. James Watson comes up with good ideas. Maybe Disney can keep the bubble in place. Disney is home to the NBA for the next tournament. That's a good idea. Let me get this thing out of the way here. More headlines. Jennifer Kopp Waren. Am I saying your name right? Jennifer Kopp Waren. I love when you watch the show. She says, I love you, Jerry Miller. Well, I don't want to pay $500,000 for a house. Iris Luck says, you are on a dynamic roll today, Jerry Miller. Hypocrisy. You are so right. Iris, I love when you watch the show. And Iris, I noticed that you're now following us on Instagram. Thank you for joining the I Love CVille Instagram community, Iris. We certainly appreciate that. Sean Horn says, so sad about BreadWorks. They have been very wonderful to our community. And Sean Horn says, you are still very mischievous, Jerry Miller. I know I'm mischievous. My wife knew who she married. She knew what she got into when she married me. I am mischievous. When you love life, it can't help but love you back. And I'm fortunate in that I'm doing professionally exactly what I want to do. There's nothing I would rather do right now than connect with you guys through this platform and talk about a community in a city that I'm extremely passionate about, that I freaking love. Okay, so thank you for saying that. That goes a long way to me. All right, guys, it's been a pleasure. We've gone 90 minutes without a break, without a commercial, without a breath. It's now 2:01 p.m. Judah's going like this to me. Is that what you're doing? Can you go to the studio camera, Judah, and bring the Judah Wickhauer studio cam? How are you feeling about the new 90-minute show, Judah Wickhauer? Studio camera in 3, 2, and 1. Or no, the Judah cam in 3, 2, and 1. What do you got?
I've got stuff to do, so let's keep it going.
Okay, good job. Thank you. All right, I Love CVille Daily Digest, 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. This entire show in 5 minutes or less. Thanks to Ting Fiber Internet. Judah, $288 on Ting Fiber Internet. The best price for the best internet possible. Ting Fiber Internet. ilovecville.ting.com. If you like this show, at 5 p.m. we do this show in 5 minutes or less. It's brutal for me because I like to talk. But it's important for you so you get this information. And I'm going to close the program one more time by saying this. And let's go to this camera over here, J-Dubs. Please, sir. I'm so frustrated with our leadership and this community. As a husband, father, as the owner of a handful of businesses, a building downtown, an investment property in Albemarle County. Our leadership, not all, but certainly the people with the most influence, and that's Ann Malik and Mayor Nikiah Walker. We cannot build a fence or a gate, Ann Malik, around Albemarle County and say, all right, 2 people left, 2 people can come in. 3 people left Albemarle County, 3 people can now come in. We cannot do that. I'm not championing sprawl like Fredericksburg. I am championing strategic development, and it needs to happen in Albemarle. And for the city, and for council, and for our mayor, stop arguing with everybody. Stop bickering with everybody. Stop disparaging Charlottesville in the New York Times. Stop disparaging Charlottesville in the world's newspaper. Stop calling phenomenal human beings like Bellamy Brown toxic SHIT. Stop arguing with Lloyd Snook during city council meetings. It's humiliating. I'm Jerry Miller. This is the I Love CVille show. We'll see you tomorrow. I mean, I'm serious about that. Did you watch the council meeting yesterday? She and Lloyd were straight up like fighting on the council meeting. Did you see it all? They were fighting in the council. It was ridiculous.